Good day, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Vise Squad, brought to you by Togens Fly Shop and Dr. Slick Tools. Last week I said that we would do a caddis pattern, and I got my stuff together and we have a caddis pattern. So this is similar to one that Rick was looking for. This one we call a Taped Wing Caddis. I think it's called a Peter's Taped Wing Caddis is the original name for it. I'll show you how to make the tape wing out of a church window feather from a ringneck pheasant, and we're gonna add a bunch of CDC. This thing floats just like a cork. So we'll just get this guy out of the way for a second. Now, to build the wing, start out with a church window feather, back feather, any feather. I like these just because they got a little bit of, they got some texturing on them. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna split all the fuzzy bits off and all the extra stuff. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on a piece of packing tape. So it looks like that. Now I'm going to put it dull side down, so shiny side up. I did try using Scotch tape and I just found it a little heavy and it was a little harder to work with. So once we have it on our tape, I've got another one prepped here. I take that tape and I fold it in half over the spine of the feather. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut our wing out of this here. So just bear with me, and this I did not prepare ahead of time. But this wing, what it should look like more or less is an elongated heart, which I'll show you in a second here. So more or less, that's what it should look like. I'm going to make the V a little more pronounced. Just a little bit. So that's what you should have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that backwards so the feather portion is up then and the tape is down. I'm going to try and fold that along the spine very carefully, because the feather will separate off the tape if you're not careful. I'm going to grab it with a pair of tweezers just on the very point, like that. And I'm going to take some, I'm going to use bone dry UV glue, and I'm just going to put a light coating of UV all over that feather. And cure it. Now that'll definitely help keep the feather bonded to the tape, and it's also going to help keep its shape. So what we want eventually when we tie that in is for that to look like that. So that's step one. Step two is coming up next. Okay, so step two with this fly, we're going to put our hook in the vise. This is a number 12 dry fly hook, barbless from Togens. And I'm going to use some 12-aught black nano silk. I'm going to start that a few eye lengths back behind the eye, just for some measuring. Gives me a marker. So we'll take that and run our thread all the way to the back, to the bend. And then I'm going to take a CDC feather. This is a longer feather. I choose that just because we're gonna wrap the body with it. And you don't want one that's super wispy, I would say, because it's just gonna, I think, build too much bulk at the back. So we'll take that feather and we're gonna tie the tip in. Do a couple, 2 or 3 loose wraps, and then we'll pull it, just so we're not going to tie it in up to the eye there. We'll leave our thread up at the front there. Next, what we'll do is take that feather and I'm going to twist it And this is gonna help us stay narrow at the back and it'll be bigger at the front, so we can get this tapered body. So I just start wrapping forward. Wrap it up to where our thread is and tie that off. Trim the stem out. If you have any fibers that are splayed forward, you can get rid of them by either cutting them out or just pushing back and tie over top of them. Next I'm going to grab 2 more feathers, CDC feathers. This is where I like to take the shorter feathers because they're not much good for wrapping around and making bodies out of, but they're good for making an underwing. So I grab 2 that are about the same size. And I'm going to tie those right on top. Like so. Snip that out. We'll just clean that up a little. Next we'll go back to our tape wing. Typically I like to put a bit of cobbler's wax on here. It really helps hold on to this because it is a bit slippery. I don't have it on my desk right at the moment, but we'll make it work. So you just want to tie that in so that it's right on top. Sort of makes a tent over top of all of that. Like so. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to stretch our thread out just a little bit here. We could throw just 1 or 2 turn whip finish in there just so that it doesn't come unraveling. What I'm going to do is grab a bodkin here. What I want to do is uncord my thread and flatten it out because we are going to split the thread and put some CDC in between the thread. So if you just slowly pull it back over and over again, it will unwind that thread. And once you have enough, once you figure you have enough to be able to separate it, you can put it down. And what I like to do is just leave my bobbin long enough so that it kind of sits against my vise base and it won't spin anymore. Then that allows me to get my CDC ready here. So I've got the first stuff was kind of a pale olive. So I'm going to go back with a pale olive and a dark dun for my hackle up at the front. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stack these on top of each other so that their curves are both going the same way, more or less. And these feathers are both about the same length. So we're going to do that. And what I'm going to do is take, this is a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and I've cut a slit in it like this. If you don't have like a Petty Jean clip or the Swiss CDC clamp or what have you, any of the other tools, this is a good way to get your CDC to fold in half, and it makes it really easy to work with. So I'm going to take those 2 stems and I'm going to just get them inside that magic eraser. That's going to look like that. And you can see on this end just how far in we are. And I'm going to take a material clamp, which is a hairline one. And I'm going to grab that feather, or both feathers, I guess. I'm going to pull it out of my magic eraser. So now I've got both stems and I'm holding on here. So what I'm going to do then is take my scissors and I'm going to cut along the stem, cut that off, making sure you leave some feathers sticking out so you can stick it through the thread. Something along that lines. So I can put that aside for just a second. And I'll go back to my thread here. And what we'll do is we'll get it nice and flat again. I'm going to stick my bodkin through there and separate that thread in half. Hopefully you can pick that up on the camera. I like to try and get your finger in there and it kind of holds it open for you. They should be something like that. Typically I also use a bit of dubbing wax here, but I also don't have that on my desk right at the moment, but that shouldn't matter. If we're careful, you can slide that, the butt of those feathers into your thread. Let go with your clamp. And then what I like to do is I'll hold it here past the CDC, and then we're going to spin that thread clockwise. And we'll let it spin and spin and spin, and that'll cord that thread back up. And eventually it'll start to spin here. And that'll lock all that CDC in there. Like so. Next we'll just wrap that around the head like you would a hackle. You just want to sort of gently pull those fibers backwards. Trying not to trap them, they're pretty wispy, but. And then we'll just finish off with the front, make a little head. Put a whip finish in there, and that's that. Trim that thread out of there, and that completes the fly. I could, I guess, clean a bit of this up. You don't have to have it all totally haywire. But as it gets wet, it's just gonna definitely lay down more on the water, and it's gonna really, I think, give you a pretty solid presentation. I did water test this, and it does ride very low in the water, much like a caddis would naturally anyway. But yeah, it's a fun little pattern, definitely a different skill set than we normally show. But I enjoy them. I'm actually looking forward to fishing one of these this summer, and I'm hoping they do well. At any rate, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell beside it. You won't miss any of our upcoming content, which we've got more and more content coming on all the time. We had a new segment come on this week for female anglers, which is I think going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be great fun to watch what they get up to. At any rate, please give our sponsors some love. You can check out their products on the online store, which is fishingandoutdoors.ca. I think I'm saying that right. Rick will put up a link here for us. But yeah, you can check it out. You can buy their products through us, and it doesn't cost you any more. It just helps us keep things rolling. At any rate, until next week, I really hope you enjoyed it.